Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up
Police
your mind.
have arrested WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Here you can see him being dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy by British police. You can hear him shouting a little bit that we don't know exactly what he's saying. We are told that Assange is now in a central London police station and he could appear in court in the next hour or two, which of course we will bring to you live.
This is such a fascinating picture, an amazing picture to see. It's so much history here. Julian Assange, obviously a central figure in so much of the drama in the United States over the last 8 or 9 years. Of course, WikiLeaks, a central player in the release of the hacked emails from the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's campaign, part of the Russian attack on the U.S. election. WikiLeaks also posted classified military information on the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Assange spent 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy avoiding extradition over a sexual assault case, but that case has been dropped.
Not really. That case hasn't been dropped. It's not closed. The charges weren't. They were revoked by Sweden. Anyway, that's what we sort of woke up to today was Julian Assange being dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London and charged with one single count. One single charge. So far, I will say so far, but a single charge, conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. He was not, this is starting a whole conversation in this country about freedom of the press and my freedom of speech and your freedom of speech. This is not what he's been charged with. He hasn't been charged with publishing anything wrongfully, let alone illegally. He's been charged with helping to crack a code of a computer that Chelsea Manning was trying to break into. Apparently, they were on this internet, it's sort of a messaging thing, like real. Some of you use, you remember AOL? Remember that? AOL, what was that? What was that? Instant messaging. So some people, still use that. I don't know who. But it's like that. It's called Jabber, okay? And they were on this, instant messaging thing, and they were exchanging messages, and Chelsea was having a hard time cracking a code into a State Department computer. Now, Chelsea Manning worked for the Army Intelligence, and she had told Julian Assange that she had pretty much exhausted all the material that she could get her hands on, and Julian Assange was writing her back saying, curious eyes never dry up. So he was encouraging her to keep on, hacking and to keep on providing. That's fine. As far as a journalist goes, if somebody was, providing me with hacked material, and they said, okay, well, this is all the material I can get to you. And I said, okay, well, listen, I would really like to see more. That was really good stuff. But if you could get me more, there's nothing illegal about that. And that is not what Assange is being charged with. Assange is being charged with this. And this is directly from the indictment. Here is the indictment. It is not long. It comes from, it's a grand jury indictment. Apparently, this happened a year ago. Remember when Mueller, it wasn't Mueller's office, it was some other case, some hate crimes case, I think. Right, Candace? Yeah. It was some other hate crimes case, and by accident, they had copied and pasted a portion of this indictment that was under seal, and people started to understand that Julian Assange was going to be indicted, that there was a sealed indictment. Well, that is this. That actually is this indictment here. So this is what it says in the indictment. I can read you the whole thing because it's really not that long, but I'll just get to paragraph 7 first, and then we can backtrack, okay? On or about March 8th, 2010. Now remember, 2010, because this is going to come up. Assange agreed to assist Manning in cracking a password stored on United States Department of Defense computers connected to the Secret Internet Protocol Network, a United States government network used for classified documents and communications as designated according to executive order, blah, 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 or its predecessor orders. Manning, who had access to the computers in connection with her duties as an intelligence analyst, was also using the computers to download classified records to transmit to WikiLeaks. Army regulations prohibited Manning from attempting to bypass or circumvent security mechanisms on government-provided information systems and from sharing personal accounts and authenticators such as passwords. The portion of the password Manning gave to Assange to crack was stored as a, quote, hash value in a computer file that was accessible only by users with administrative level privileges. Manning did not have administrative level privileges and used special software, namely a Linux operating system, to access the computer file and obtain the portion of the password provided to Assange. Now, stop right there, whether you understand Linux or you understand Jabber or you understand what was going on here. The charge against Assange is not publishing. The charge against Assange is not a freedom of speech, a journalistic inquiry into whether or not journalists can It is not that. It is aiding in the cracking of a password. It is an unauthorized intrusion into a classified portion of an administrative only, eyes only, a secret. This is about hacking. This indictment is not about journalism. I know of no journalists who have ever participated in hacking of classified information. I know of many journalists who receive classified information and publish it. I've been friends with Daniel Ellsberg for years. All of these anti-war protests that I've been to, I've met Daniel Ellsberg at many of them, many, many times. And, he is the source of the Pentagon Papers, okay? Now, nobody was ever prosecuted for publishing classified material in the history of this country, and neither is Julian Assange being prosecuted for publishing anything at any time. This indictment is to do with cracking into a computer intrusion, aka hacking. That's what it says in this indictment, okay? The portion of the password Manning gave to Assange to crack was stored as a hash value in a computer file that was accessible only by users with administrative level privileges. Manning did not have administrative level privileges and used special software, namely a Linux operating system, to access the computer file and obtain the portion of the password provided to Assange. Then it goes on. Cracking the password would have allowed Manning to log onto the computers under a username that did not belong to her. Such a measure would have made it more difficult for investigators to identify Manning as the source of disclosures of classified information. Prior to the formation of the password cracking agreement, now the reason why those words are in there is because it's a conspiracy. Manning had already provided WikiLeaks with hundreds of thousands of classified records that she downloaded from departments and agencies of the United States, including the Afghan war-related significant activity reports and Iraq war-related significant activity reports. This is not that either. At the time he entered into this agreement, Assange knew that Manning was providing WikiLeaks with classified records containing national defense information of the United States. Assange was knowingly receiving such classified records from Manning for the purposes of publicly disclosing them on the WikiLeaks website. This is not charging him with publishing those documents on the WikiLeaks website. This is not about publishing. This is about hacking and a conspiracy that Assange entered into with Chelsea Manning to crack a password-protected site that was protected by administrative level only privileges. That's what this is. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.